right, welcome ladies and gentlemen to the show. Today is September 26th, 2022. Boy, last weekend we had a hell of a NFL slate. We had so many good games, so many great plays made. Today we've got across from me the one and only Jack Wallace sitting on the couch. Jack, you look great today. I love the shades.
Thank you. Thought I'd come prepared and looking good for episode 1 of this great show.
Great show, yeah.
I'm ready.
Yes, I'm calling it Marv on air. We're going to see what goes on here. Basically, we're just going to talk NFL, and when the NFL goes out of season, we'll talk NHL and NBA and everything else that's less relevant.
Yeah, women's floor hockey, you name
it. Yeah, you know what's up. Iowa State Cyclones, broom ball intramural championships.
Underwater basket weaving.
Exactly. That would be an interesting one.
If it's real, we will cover it.
We will
if they
potentially cover it.
We'll
yes,
cover it.
We might. Yeah, so I guess we should just jump right into it. We don't have any logistics on the show, I don't think. Definitely.
We're just here to talk.
We're just here to hang out.
Yep.
Yeah, so did you have a favorite game this weekend? Because I don't even, there's too many good ones to pick off.
Well, favorite game, it's tough not to say Bills-Dolphins just because both teams going in undefeated, a division rivalry, a great game, it came down to the wire. As a Chiefs fan, though, I watched that game and wasn't happy with the ending. We can get into that later, but there was a few close games, and I definitely would say Bills-Dolphins.
Okay, yeah. Piggybacking off of your close games comment, I got Red Zone this weekend.
Yes.
First time. I've wanted Red Zone for years.
Great week to have it.
Oh my gosh. It was just, boom, play from Ravens, Patriots. Boom, play from Bills, Dolphins. It was just every play was a new game, and it was honestly a little much for me to take in.
It is. It's a lot. I mean, it's 10 games going on at once.
Oh my gosh.
It's a hectic time, but
I about started taking notes. No lie.
8 games, and yeah, you gotta pay attention to keep up with them because they go quick.
They do. Here's what I was thinking. Honestly, once I got over the initial stardom of holy shit, I'm watching 8 games at once.
Yeah.
Scott Hansen needs the Medal of Honor.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I don't know how he does it.
How does he commentate 8 NFL games at one time? I actually don't know.
Experience, I guess. I can't even watch him all at once, let alone commentate on it.
Yep, and he's doing when they go back in time too. He's this is a replay.
Show scoring plays. Yeah.
Yep. He is good at what he does. I did not know.
Give him a raise.
Give him all the raises.
Speaking of give him a raise, Lamar Jackson.
Oh, dude. Okay. After this weekend, he is the only QB with 3 touchdowns scored in every single game so far. He has first on the totem pole in passing touchdowns, first in passer rating across the whole entire NFL, and he's also tied for 4th in rushing yards, including running backs.
It's amazing.
How does this guy not have a contract yet?
He's on my fantasy, and he's got to be about 40 each week or close to it. And even last week when they played the Dolphins and lost in that fourth quarter comeback, he had 40 in fantasy and I think 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
It's insane. With a quarterback like him, you're got to pay him. There's no other way to say it.
That is... Whoever picked Lamar this year is going to win, I think, consistently.
Oh, yeah.
But he has definitely come out and showed the Ravens that he deserves a max contract, basically. And I think he turned down $250 million before the season.
And then he signed something real quick right at the beginning, something just to keep him for a year or 2 more. I can't remember the exact details, but it's not enough, regardless of. For a guy like that,
he's definitely waiting on that fully guaranteed
Supermax,
contract,
whatever you call it.
100%. And I don't blame him, honestly. Go for it all. Steal all the money right now.
In my opinion, he's skill-wise right there with someone like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. He needs to get paid like them too.
100%.
He's their franchise quarterback, and I think it's injuries that the Ravens are kind of holding back on because he seems to get hurt here and there. And a running dual-threat quarterback is gonna be more, I guess, likely to see those injuries, but at the end of the day, if he stays healthy, he's one of the best. So.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess that begs the question then, Lamar Jackson versus everyone else. Is there a quarterback you would take over Lamar? That Jalen Hurts kind of light on his feet running back type, Josh Allen basically a fullback behind the center.
More or less, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Lamar is the best in the game right now, and there's no way around it.
Absolutely. It's just the thing is, like, the people he's surrounded with maybe aren't as great as Josh Allen and the Bills, or even Patrick Mahomes, or maybe Justin Herbert. Those guys are all just surrounded by some crazy stars, where I think Lamar's kind of more of a one-man show than they are, so that's where it's hard to tell. But if you put them all in like a vacuum and it's just their skill level alone, then Lamar Jackson's top 3 for sure.
Yeah, Lamar, I think he's probably the best quarterback in the game right now. But, man,
But
it's something else.
the two that are surprising me this season are Jalen Hurts and Tua.
Really, Tua came out of the woodwork.
Now, as a Chiefs fan, I put a lot of the Tua doing good. I put a lot of that towards Tyreek Hill joining him, but
Clearly.
when you have two super speed wide receivers like Waddle and Hill, you're gonna look better.
And they've also got, is it Gesicki at tight end?
Yeah, his nice gritty we saw a couple weeks ago. That's all I'll remember him for now. But yeah, Tua's looking great, and Jalen Hurts is looking great too, and clearly because those are the two undefeated teams.
Yeah.
Other than the Giants who play tonight, but
right, we will see if they continue it, and that's a good question. Dolphins being the only 3-0 team in the AFC, are they a Super Bowl favorite now coming out of the AFC?
I don't know about favorite, but maybe a contender. I think teams get hot streaks, and a hot streak typically I'd say goes from like 4 to 5 games. So,
okay.
Talk to me about Week 8, and I'll let you know what we're feeling. But
I think that's a valid point.
Right now, too early to tell.
Yeah, it's still a little early to overreact. But I think that starting the season hot is going to have you in a better position late than starting the season cold.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that like the Bengals can't make the playoffs starting 0-2, but a team that starts off well and they can see what they're capable of is going to be a lot more likely to be like handle adversity well and really make a really solid playoff push. I think it's guaranteed they make the playoffs. It'll be interesting to see what the number 1 seed is in the AFC, but I personally think at least whoever comes out of the AFC is winning the Super Bowl.
Probably. I think the AFC definitely has the edge on NFC this year.
Mm-hmm. I think the NFC, obviously we saw the Rams against the Bills. That was a rough Week 1.
Yeah.
And in Week 1, obviously,
exactly.
It's only Week 1.
Everything's way too early right now, and it's all just speculation, but teams that can win those first games with all healthy players and before everyone's starting to get hurt in the later season.
That's a good call.
They're sitting better. It's just the fact, but
yeah, and well, that's one thing that it always gets appreciated and never talked about enough is the injuries. Teams that get injured late, it's just kind of tough luck, really.
For sure.
I think that's kind of how the Bengals, in my opinion, made a Super Bowl push. They just got lucky, and and I think we can kind of see that now that they're 1-2 or they definitely got pretty lucky, and not that they can't bounce back, but they certainly aren't looking as good as they did in the playoffs last year. So this is true. There's no more Joe Shiesty
no
taking over the internet look. But speaking of injuries, we do have a couple of pretty big ones from this week. DeAndre Swift is going to miss a couple of weeks probably, just quote, some time with his shoulder sprain. Joey Bosa has a groin injury. They're going to be looking into that.
Yeah.
I think as a Patriots fan, my largest issue or where all my attention is on Mac Jones.
Yeah, he did not look great after getting carried off the field like that.
Definitely did not. He hopped to the sideline and was like pushing the trainers away. He was so
screaming.
Yeah. It was
but you
bad luck.
Brian Hoyer to rely on, so nothing wrong there.
We still have Bill Belichick. We'll be fine.
Your division isn't an easy win like it used to be 3 years ago for you guys. So
the Bills were barely anything, and then I think you'd be called the town lunatic if you called the Jets or the Dolphins worth anything back in the day. That is.
Luckily, I think the Jets still are going to be at the bottom. But
they have Zach Wilson though, so I mean,
is he coming back Week 4? Is that confirmed?
That is not confirmed. But the fact that he's on the team and affecting the locker room atmosphere, I think, is enough to drive the Jets.
Yeah. He definitely wins popularity contest among the NFL fan base. So.
At least the fans that understand.
I became more of a fan over the offseason.
Oh yeah,
for sure. But,
yeah, obviously. For his workout videos, right? The ones he was releasing of
something like that.
Working out. Yeah. No, he's a dog, that's for sure. And I don't know. I almost would put my money on Patriots at realistically third in the division, but fourth in division is not necessarily out of the cards with Mac Jones not playing.
No, it's not. That division's probably going to be a shootout for first place and a shootout for third place.
That's right. That's right.
If you know.
No, I definitely
goes.
I know some Dolphins fans, and obviously as a Patriots fan, I don't like Dolphins fans. And normally we kind of jar back and forth because it's been pretty close realistically between the Patriots and the Dolphins the last few years. But this year I didn't even say anything because I already knew Dolphins with that whole new backfield they picked up, and with Tyreek outside, Waddle outside. We lost J.C. Jackson. There was no competition there, but it's I'm hoping we can bounce back and get a better end of the season than start.
No, I definitely could see them making the playoffs as a wild card or something. You know how playoffs work.
We'll sneak in.
Yeah, all the things that have to happen for teams to make it or not make it. And like I said, week 3, way too early to tell. So
yes,
definitely a chance. I'm not counting them out by any means.
No, it's not. It's not over, and especially with early injuries, there's time to come back and play at the end of the season. Speaking of coming back, though, actually, I've done speaking of transitions here 10 times in a row, but it just keeps coming up. Tua coming back into the game for the Dolphins.
It was bizarre. I mean, I feel bad for the guy.
Did you see him walking off after the hit?
Yep, I saw him. He got back up and took a few steps and then fell. And you can't let the guy play after that. Concussion protocol is concussion protocol. And
exactly.
As a Chiefs fan, I think it was a couple years back when they were in the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes got a concussion, and Chad Henne had to take over for a few games. And it sucked because Patrick probably was good enough to play, but rules are rules, and it is what it is. And I don't know. Hopefully, that gets taken care of accordingly.
The NFLPA came out today, so they were putting an investigation into that.
Saw that.
To see just kind of what happened there, if that was legal. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I was telling my dad when we were watching the game, I said, that looks gnarly. And when you send someone into the locker room with a sprained ankle or something along those lines, like Harrison Butker in week 1, you send them back there, give them some Toradol, tape them up. They should be good to finish, at least do another quarter, something along those lines.
Yeah.
You can't do that with a head.
You can't mess with the brain. No, you cannot. And it's like, from an ethical standpoint, it just was that the right thing to do. And from a non-Dolphins fan, obviously if they're down of a quarterback, it's not the worst thing in the world for me. But from a human being, I mean, it's this guy's brain for crying out loud.
No, I know, and it just goes to show how important winning is in the NFL. I mean, we all saw the Bills' offensive coordinator when they weren't able to get the clock stopped at the end of the game.
Yep.
But I don't know. I mean, you're right. From an ethical standpoint, there is definitely some questioning to be done there.
Yeah, I just don't know if maybe they weren't paying attention or what, or if they were just trying to be shady about it. I'm not sure, but
I mean, his first throwback, his first drive, he had a solid drive, but his first throwback, he pretty much threw it right into the Bills' arms, and they dropped it. And I was like, oh god, he should not be out there. He's probably seeing double.
Yeah, another one who was like that last week against the Chiefs. Justin Herbert, he got all those hits, and they kept putting him back in. And I get that, it was still, the game was still winnable for the Chargers, but you can't do that to your franchise quarterback at that point. And then they
what kind of morale is that?
Exactly, and they went and got crushed by the Jaguars this week. So clearly, he wasn't firing on all cylinders. And
that's exactly right.
You got to wonder if it was because they kept pushing him too hard.
I would imagine. I didn't hear any really news on him.
No, I think he's just day-to-day questionable, but still, it just seemed like he's in rough shape to be playing.
I mean, he was calling to come out basically, which he put himself back in after he caused the injury timeout, and you were forced to remove yourself from the game
for one play.
That's an NFL rule, but he did put himself back in. But it also looked like he was just calling for the sideline every play.
He did not look comfortable at all.
He did not, and the Chiefs were just. They were just letting him. And
I
mean, where was the Chargers' offensive line? I feel like at that point you got to step up, and I mean, obviously
he couldn't scramble away, and he was asking to get hurt at that point, even more. So
the Chiefs were definitely gunning for him there. We do have some big news today. Came out this morning. Pro Bowl, no more Pro Bowl tackle game. That is.
Yeah.
We will still have a week of activities and a flag football game, which I think is what the fans have been calling for
That's
for
all
years
that
now.
was getting watched, really. I think the skills and the because that's honestly what the game had become. It was just the wrap up, and they'll call the play dead. But
Exactly.
so now that it's flag, and you'll see, I think, players trying harder and a more entertaining game. So
I 100% agree. Yeah, and I hope we see some really tough like competition and trying hard in these what do you want to call them, skills competitions, I guess.
Yeah.
Like we saw Tyreek Hill lose to Michael Parsons last year in the 40, and did he really lose? It didn't look like he was running that hard.
Yeah, I don't think he was trying to. I probably didn't want to pull anything before.
It's true. This is true.
You know, didn't want to ruin his trade value since he was so ready to get out of the Chiefs.
That's just Yep, that's actually valid. I've forgotten that at that point that was on the table. Bless you. But or is that, I don't know. But I think this is going to be really good for the kids, actually, seeing NFL stars that they love to watch on Sundays go and do exactly what they're doing on their Sundays, which is playing flag football. I think they'll be able to watch and enjoy kind of just basically stars doing what they're going to be doing. You know,
Absolutely.
They can pull moves from them.
It'll just be more fun to watch. Because it kind of reminds me, as an NBA fan, the All-Star Week is not just the game; it's the three-point contest, dunk contest, and all that stuff makes it way more fun. So
yeah,
the NFL having that and focusing on that,
I think that's gonna be
just
great.
Like a lame game that no one tries in, and is going to be so much better. So
yeah, my thought was maybe some more players will come to take part if it's not such a because it was looked at as a long time as you're going to get hurt playing in that game, and what is that going to do for you? You're not getting a big game check there. You're not, nothing along those lines. And I think it's I hope it opens up the door for more players coming to play, because that's what we want to see is these players, as much as possible, basically, especially with such a long off season that football it requires. But it was honestly good news in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree. And I've heard some stuff about like the winner of it, if it's AFC or NFC, getting like home field advantage for the Super Bowl or something like that.
Really?
Like if they like something to do with calling the coin toss, or I'm not 100% sure, but making more of like an actual reward for winning the game instead of it being just like a fun exhibition, which I think would be cool. It adds stakes to it and make them want to try harder. So
100%. I'm not saying stakes have to be involved with everything, but it definitely
something to keep it entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, if it drives the players to try harder and they don't get injured, that's good news in my book. I don't know. We will see. It will be an interesting experience, but I'm rooting for the whole NFLPA basically as a collaboration here.
Yeah, I'm all for trying the new stuff and watching it. That's all I'm here to do.
Yeah, that's really all I do as well. I only watch and enjoy. We've got a couple standings mix-ups compared to recent years. I don't know if you want to go over those. We've got like the Dolphins on top. Yep, Dolphins on top of the AFC East. Eagles running the NFC East is a little bit different. You don't see the Vikings on top of the North very often. But the big one, obviously, is the Jaguars on top of the NFC South.
Yeah, that's crazy. That whole division has always just been kind of a shit show. And now it's you got the Titans, who were the 1 seed in last year's postseason, and now they are looking very washed and
1-2, sitting at third in the division.
I don't know if Ryan Tannehill is their long-term guy, but
I've never personally thought he was.
No, honestly. I think he's just always gotten the job done, and Derrick Henry's carried him the rest of the way, or the receivers they've had in the past. But they definitely aren't looking like they're going far this year.
It's going to require more from them, more from Tannehill or more from a different QB to push them over the edge. Obviously, we saw that in last year's playoffs. You can't just rely on Henry, but I think it's interesting to look at the Colts when they are 1-1, tying the Texans, losing to. It was the Titans?
Jaguars.
The Jaguars. Jaguars 27-0. And then they come away with a win in Kansas City.
As a Chiefs fan, I don't want to talk about that game, but I have to. And honestly, it was a good close game for a while. And the Chiefs' defense looked really good, stopping Jonathan Taylor for the most part, even though he was the rushing leader of the game. It's because it's Jonathan Taylor. He probably had the ball just as much as Matt Ryan did. It was like he handed it off at least 3/4 of the plays they ran. So But the Chiefs defense stopped them for the most part. But having a backup kicker for Kansas City screwed them multiple times with
it was big time
goals and extra points. And then obviously late game having that call on Chris Jones was not what we wanted. The game would have been over right there had that not gotten called. But
I do have to say it was a lot tighter than I expected it to be.
I agree.
There was multiple times when I was looking throughout the game. Obviously, red zone was flipping back and forth, so I didn't get to watch it in one big piece. But there was multiple times where I was like, "Oh, geez, we're gonna run away with it here." And every time it flipped back, it was still close.
We just couldn't get it going, and it seems like that's how we are every year against the Colts. The Colts have given us hard times. I'd have to look it up, but it seems like we've lost like the last 4 out of 5 or something like that to the Colts, and I don't know why, but hey, good for the Colts. They got to win now. I'm not worried about the Chiefs because we've beat 2 decent teams this year in the Cardinals and the Chargers, so we move on to the Bucs next week, which will be a good one, and hopefully we can get the better of them and just move past it at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. The Bucs are looking a little bit weak, and the NFC West is also looking. The AFC West is also looking a little bit weak in comparison to what we thought it was going to look like before the season.
You're right.
Preseason, we were expecting just shootouts every game. Davante Adams, we got the addition in Las Vegas. You guys picked up Juju, obviously still going to be a powerhouse just like every single year. It seems like the AFC kind of runs through the Arrowhead Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've also got the Broncos with the addition of Russell Wilson. And
Chargers expanded their defense with
J.C. Jackson, Khalil Mack. Yep. 2 big additions there. I'm sure that they have a lot more that I'm not thinking of right now. But on paper, those 4 looked unbelievable. And we're looking at 2 2-1s, a 1-2, and an 0-3 in the Raiders.
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking as a Chiefs fan, I think we'll be fine and have a winning season. Probably win the division if things keep going how they are. If I had to guess, for the Chargers, I think they'll still be able to get in if they keep Herbert healthy back there and don't lose to the Jaguars. But if they could easily turn it around with a quarterback like Herbert and the guys that surround him. As for the Broncos and the Raiders starting 0-3, the only team without a win right now. I don't know if it might be too late for them because I'm just not seeing what we thought we were out of Davante Adams and Derek Carr. I don't think they're connecting like we thought they would. I don't think Hunter Renfrow is impacting the game other than in a negative way like he did in the end of the Arizona game, week 2.
Yes, that was bad.
That was a close game.
It was really bad.
And then even Josh Jacobs and Darren Waller, no one's producing like they thought they were going to. So I'm not going to say it's too late, but it's not looking good right now.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I do have to say that I think when you look at the Raiders versus the Dolphins won the trade market as far as picking up Tyreek versus Davante Adams, if you were to look at them in the same kind of light.
Oh, yeah.
Because Tyreek against the Ravens took over the game basically with 2 plays. Davante needs 12 catches, for 180, 210 yards and a couple tuds to really take over. I mean, I'm not saying that Davante's not good. Obviously, he's probably one of the best receivers in the game.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it's talked about less without Aaron Rodgers back there throwing to him and Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon and all of them in the backfield to really take some pressure. I mean, Josh Jacobs is a weapon, basically. But
he should be, yeah.
But the way that the Raiders run their offense, I think it just kind of... I've never been impressed with the Raiders as an organization.
No, I think it's the fact Derek Carr's just like so, I don't know, mid. He's like so plain. I don't know. Like he gets the job done, but that's it. Don't expect anything else.
Yeah, and he always loves to keep it close and come from behind.
Yeah.
He's a late game quarterback, and that's awesome. But I don't know if I'm going to give you like the same kind of respect that I give to like a Brady or a Rodgers that's a late game clutch time quarterback if you can't step on someone's throat in the second quarter.
It's just now he has the talent around him too, so I don't know who to blame other than Derek Carr and maybe coaching here. It's just not connecting right now. So.
Yeah. I think the culture in Las Vegas is out of whack.
Oh, for sure.
Everyone was looking at Tua and saying if Tua can't succeed, then it's all on Tua because now he's got all these weapons. Well, the exact same thing's happening in Las Vegas.
I agree.
And Tua, he came to play. He's shown that he's actually a valid quarterback, throwing some dimes, still pretty mobile on his feet. the lefty, I think, opens up a lot of possibilities for their offensive-minded guru head coach Mike McDaniel. We've seen his swagger out on the sideline with the comb-over gel hair look.
The Supreme Air Forces, too. I think
yes, sir. He is one.
He's dripped out there.
One sexy man out there. But
these young coaches, there's a lot of them now, so
they're really showing up, kind of, and just showing out. I don't see as many rookie quarterback mistakes other than was that week 1 that the Broncos? Yes, week 1 against Seattle. When they decided to kick from 64,
yes,
instead of trying to at least get a little closer. But then we also see time run out against the Bills. So, I mean, I can see where the decision came from, but rookie NFL head coach blunders, I think, are a lot less prevalent than they once were.
Yeah, and there's a lot of these young guys in here. I just think of a few, like, they just seem young to me because I'm used to looking at Andy Reid on the sideline. But you got the Dolphins coach, you got Matt LaFleur or Kyle Shanahan. Those are both pretty young guys.
Yep.
And Arizona even has a decently young coach, excuse me. And, yeah, I think you're just seeing a lot of young coaches that are taking teams to the next level, and whereas maybe they wouldn't have done that in the past. And
it definitely goes to show that the game is a young man's game. Obviously, that's applicable for players. Tom Brady's kind of the exception. Aaron Rodgers. The quarterback position is really the only exception.
Yeah.
Other than, like, I don't know, maybe like it's definitely nothing on defense.
No,
that's
yeah,
for sure.
You just don't laugh. Those positions aren't meant to be played for more than 10 years half the time. So
I'd say the average NFL player length is only like 3.2 years, and I used to think it was because they were just kind of not as good or something. Like, I mean, obviously most players in the NFL don't play for very long, but I think part of it too is it's a young player's game, and they'll come in and just get replaced essentially.
Yeah.
But that also goes to show in the coaching. I mean, you've got Pete Carroll at 71. How old is Bill? 80? 70? Something. I mean, I would have passed him to be 95.
He could be 300 years old for all we know. I mean, I don't know, Bill.
That guy is something else. And I mean, what are the Patriots right now? 1-2? Is that what we are?
2-1, 1-2.
1-2 right now, and the Seahawks are 1-2 as well, I believe. Let me find them here. Yes, they are 1-2. So I mean, those are obviously not the only old coaches in the game.
Yeah.
But they're not representing them very well, if you will say. I mean, I'm a huge fan of that's what we grew up on. We saw Bill run, 6 Super Bowls in 20 years or whatever, and I'll never forget the Pete Carroll, Bill Belichick showdown that was 2014.
Oh, man.
With the Malcolm Butler interception.
Yeah, you will never forget that one.
Heck no, dude, I was on that permanently. So, like, I don't know, they have a special place in my heart, but it is kind of cool to see the game evolving. I mean,
it has for sure.
And we were watching some SEC football on Saturday, Tennessee and the Gators, and that was a hell of a game. But we were watching it like, what is it about SEC football that they never punt? They never go for like anything besides two. Yeah, like, is it offensive guru minds that are just showing prevalence, or is it defensive blunders here and there, or is it like all of the statistics overlords that are showing 85% of the time you go for 2, this is going to happen down the line, like something along those lines. But it's seeping its way into the NFL. I think there's a lot more of going for 2s and going for it on 4th down inside, like at the 15. And obviously the NFL is the men's league for a reason. There's a lot more deeper decisions to be made, especially with so much hyper power on every side of the ball, and that comes into every week. Any given team can win. They're all made of stars from their college. So I mean, that's part of it. But like, I think it was the Dolphins Bills game. They just went for it on 4th from like the 10 because they just knew they needed to get into the end zone to be competitive in that game, and it ended up being the case. But like, I think it makes the games a lot more interesting to watch, and everyone obviously always wants offense, but they are really, those young coaches are stepping it up right now.
Yeah, they do their research for sure. Like, it's so much more stat driven than it used to be.
I mean, did you see how many papers the Bills head coach was throwing around?
Yeah, he was mad.
He was
I would
so
be too,
pissed.
Man.
I mean, honestly, watching that game after so we were watching the punt from the end zone.
Yeah.
And it went like straight up, and I'm like, oh, that's only going 5 yards. It went backwards.
It did. I thought it hit off like his ankle. Like
and kind of like his foot kind of hooked it.
Redirected back at him, and then Man, that replay really showed a lot more.
It really did.
A Mark Sanchez style punt, if you will, right off of I don't know who it was. It was number 17's rear end.
Tiny, if you will.
Yeah.
Mark Sanchez actually tweeted out and said,
I did see
stay
that.
in your lane. So that's interesting. I don't know. Here's my question. With these new offensive-minded, different aspect of the game, different perspective, if you will, on the game head coaches, is it possible that Mike McDaniel gets in the punter's ear, he says, hey, I need you to kick it off of your blocker's ass for this punt?
You think that's what happened?
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm not saying it happened, but it's possible.
Maybe.
What happens if he gets a punt there? They get it on the 35. They get it on the 40-yard line. Guess what? They're basically already within field goal range. Granted, they're down 4.
Yeah.
So they need to get into the end zone. But when you punt it from your own 40, and then you pin them on their 20, or I don't remember where they started that drive, but they still need to cover that distance to get to the field goal marker.
I'm seeing what you're saying, but I think you're still giving the time was the issue with that, not necessarily the points they had or the field position. It probably helped them that they had better field position, or worse, I should say, for the Bills.
Yeah.
But I just still think it wasn't enough time being within a touchdown, needing to get in the end zone in less than a minute.
Yeah.
I just think, leave the 13 seconds for Patrick Mahomes, but
I mean, hey,
not Josh Allen.
All I'm saying is it's possible that, Mr. Mike McDaniel with his sexy hair was like, hey, I need to see if you can do this for me.
I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I'm not saying it did.
There's no evidence either way right now, but that's something to keep your mind on. I think that's interesting. We've been talking all crazy about these offensive guru head coaches and how much fun it is to watch. I was wondering if you caught the Sunday Night Baseball game this week.
Oh yeah, I watched the tail end of that when the Broncos won by how many runs?
that was a tight. That was a walk-off safety. I don't know. 10-11 at one point. It was 7-5.
Who's giving these teams a Sunday night game?
I
really
not
don't know. Save them for a Sunday at noon when no one's watching them. We can pop in on Red Zone once in a while with them. I don't need to see them on NBC Sunday nights.
No, I think the Saints and Panthers game was shown like 4 or 5 times because it was kind of a blowout.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we needed to see from the Niners and the Broncos. I don't know. I think Russ was cooking up some hot dogs last night because it was horrible.
Just boiling them or microwaving them.
And he's still out there like, hey, we won the game. I got paid $250 million.
Yeah. You can't knock on the guy, hate on him because they're 2-1, and not because of Russell Wilson, but because of their defense. So
yes,
that was just a defensive game last night. There's really no other way to put it. And it wasn't fun to watch, but both those quarterbacks did not look good, especially Jimmy G.
As sexy as Jimmy G is, as handsome and as stunning as he is, that was a rough game to watch.
Yeah, and as an Iowa State students, I think will agree that I saw a tweet that the 49ers, someone needs to tell them about Brocktober.
Yes.
And, Brock Purdy, maybe the third string, old Iowa State quarterback, maybe needs to get a chance. And Jimmy G he's very average, below average even from times. So it's like he's just kind of there to get the job done and not even really that.
He definitely shows up. He gets wins sometimes. He carried him into the playoffs last year.
And a Super Bowl a couple years before that,
So, I mean, he's a solid player, but he's kind of like a Ryan Tannehill in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a perfect analogy here. It's similarity there between them. It's just boring. I don't know.
It is. It's not like super fun to watch football. He gets the job done.
Yeah.
Does what he has to do, but I don't know. I think it'd be interesting to see Brock out there, actually. I did not think about that. When was the last time he lost in Brocktober?
I don't know if he has. Isn't that the whole thing? Like they call it, he's undefeated in October or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I grew up an Iowa fan, so Iowa State football hasn't always been something I follow as a student now, but it'd be interesting to see. Try out the rookie. Trey Lance hurt and Jimmy G underperforming. How much worse can you get? So,
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's definitely
a chance.
Niners at 1-2. They looked like crap against the Bears. Granted, the water, I think it leveled the playing field. Kind of gave the Bears almost an advantage by taking
somebody.
They did beat.
Was it
it was week 2. let me see if I can pull up their little
Was it like
schedule here.
Seattle?
It was Seattle, 27-7. Pretty good win there for them, but yeah, you can't go around losing to the Broncos by a point. Like, they did not cover there.
When I turn on Sunday Night Football, I don't want to watch that ever. I would have rather
ever again.
It should have been. I know that they have rules and they have to give certain teams primetime games at certain times. I don't know about any of that, but I would have rather seen the Bucks Packers or Dolphins Bills.
So many good games this week, and that was what got shown for Monday night or Sunday night.
Ravens Patriots, was that the other one?
Mm-hmm.
I think that one would have been fine.
It wasn't a close ending, but it was a pretty close game.
Yeah,
honestly.
It was. And both those quarterbacks and just teams in general are way more entertaining to watch. So.
Yeah, well, and I mean, speaking of teams getting specific primetime games, this is probably the first year I've ever been excited for watching the Lions play on Thanksgiving. They've got some mojo this year.
They're looking a lot better than they did last year, and it's kind of fun to watch. Just because I don't think they'll go far, but I think when they beat like a team here and there. Are they 1-2 now?
The Lions are 1-2, but I think both of those games that they've lost are winnable.
Yeah,
that's the thing. They like to keep it close. Jared Goff was kind of terrible last year.
He was not very good.
He was not very good. But this year, he's shown a lot of promise. They've got DeAndre Swift, who is sitting. But I mean, I think Dan Campbell's got him fired up. I think he wants them, do well.
Yeah, even though those Lions lose in the last, this season and last, been losing a lot. Those games are always so close. It seems like they're always losing by like one score. So
yeah. I mean,
an L is an L, but
they seem to be cover gods. I don't know if you're big into gambling or understand the spread. But
I follow it, but I never. I
very little.
You're only one bet away from winning $1 million.
This is true. Yeah, it's very interesting to watch, but man, they are something else. They just love to keep it close, and I'm actually kind of excited to see them on primetime. I don't know. They probably only have that game, but it'll be fun to watch them. I
love Thanksgiving games. Just 3 back-to-back.
Back.
Can't complain.
Yeah, that's probably someone at the beginning of the year. Obviously, Jack, you mentioned that we were ISU students, and first day of class is always just such a crapshoot. But I got asked what my favorite holiday was, and I had to go with Thanksgiving because there's NFL,
the football,
food, crisp air. I mean, we got some crisp air this weekend, and you'd think I was down in 6 coffees. Like, I was so jazzed just because it smelled fresh and it's football season.
I like that kind of 55 degree, maybe like not super sunny, just like slight breeze, just like football weather. I don't know any other way to put it.
Something about it. Yeah, I'm loving that. That just kind of.
It's fresh.
It's crisp.
It is.
Yeah.
You don't have to sweat when you go outside.
Yep. I'm sporting the joggers today. I mean,
throw on the old windbreaker, the Willie P.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Looks good. I've been having coffee a little bit later in the day, and that combined with the fresh air is just.
It just screams football.
It does, yeah. And I all that energy, I was like, let's start a little show here, and here we are. So
talk more football. And
yeah, I mean, you could thank coffee and fall weather for bringing this show to you today. We're very thankful for everyone watching, obviously. I do think we need to talk about the halftime show that came out on Sunday. That Rihanna is going to be covering that. My girlfriend was confused. She was like, "I thought Taylor Swift was doing it." Turns out she turned it down. Did you know that?
I didn't know she turned it down. I heard they were thinking about giving it to her, and I was not a big fan of that. I don't know. I don't like Taylor Swift. She thinks she's overrated.
That's unbelievable. I can't believe you just said that.
I don't want to watch Taylor Swift at the halftime show. I don't want to watch half the people they've had recently. I don't.
Last year's show was good.
Was it The Weeknd or is that?
Last year was like Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre.
Yep, I remember now.
That one was good.
I don't know. They pick people that mainstream or that are going to get people that aren't just football fans that want to watch. I feel like, and I get that it's all money and numbers that they base it on, but I don't know. I just feel like sometimes they're getting people like Adam Levine or Lady Gaga. And it's like I'm gonna go do my homework for Monday, instead of watching the game at this point.
I think
Rihanna, I think will be okay. I'm kind of middle of the road about it. Not mad, but not really excited.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch. I know a lot of people that watch the Super Bowl just for halftime, and a lot of people that only watch for commercials as well. So that'll be, I think that'll be good for them, bringing a lot of people to the game. Obviously, the more people that watch the game, the better. I'm a huge football fan, and the more people I can talk about it with, the better.
Sure. Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like I probably would rather have Rihanna than Taylor Swift
And
as
sometimes,
well. Nothing against Taylor, but
Yeah, nothing against her. I just hate her. I'm kidding. But sometimes the commercials and the halftime show make up for if it's a boring game. Like last year, I don't care about the Bengals. I didn't care about the Rams.
Really?
Well, when the Bengals.
You didn't have a Joe Shiesty shirt on. You got those crazy glasses.
No, because he beat the Chiefs.
Okay, that's fair. I'll give you that.
I am happy Matt Stafford got a ring, along with OBJ and a few others in the Rams. But other than that, I just didn't really care about the game. I don't know. When your team's like this close to being in it but isn't in it, it's like,
hard to watch.
It's one thing if you're like a Lions fan and they had no chance, but when you're like, you knew you could have been there, just like this close. It's just like I'm not watching that.
No, I definitely feel you. That had to have been tough, but I think it's going to be harder as a Patriots fan to get used to them not being like in the run at least.
For sure, yeah.
They would make the AFC Championship game almost every year, and I think we could get back to that with Mac Jones, but I don't see that necessarily being in our
It won't be as much of a gimme as it used to be. You got to work for it. It's still possible, but
any given day. Any given day.
I mean, tonight we got Cowboys Giants, which I think should be a good game. Who do you got? Who are you picking for that?
We did some picks last week, and I'm pretty confident in the Giants here. I mean, Cooper Rush looks solid for the Cowboys.
Yeah, it could go either way, no doubt.
Saquon Barkley, I think, is a powerhouse. Obviously, is Zeke still playing? I don't even know. That guy
don't know.
hasn't made much of a name for himself.
I don't follow the Cowboys because I just can't stand them.
I hate the Cowboys. Yeah. No, they.
I'll pick them tonight just because I don't want the Giants to be 3-0. But
true.
Other than that, I don't care who wins.
Yeah, I'm rooting for the Giants. I think, but it'll be a good game. I hope. Honestly, I'm hoping to get to enjoy that.
It should be better than last night's. Just in terms of scoring and how close it is, because their offenses aren't as, or they should be a little better than what we saw last night.
Yeah, you would hope.
Defensive heavy. I don't know.
I mean,
I'll watch it. I don't know.
It's not going to take as much as you would think probably to get some offensive points scored there, but yeah, no, I think that covers our week 3 recap. We can go into week 4, a little bit further down the line, but I'd like to thank you for having on the show.
Thanks
for coming on the show. Obviously,
that was fun.
Hopefully, we can keep this rolling for everyone watching. There is no upload schedule right now. We will just figure it out as we go. But don't be afraid to tell your friends that we got a couple goofballs back here talking oblong shaped balls.
If you want to, pop on the show or have us talk about something or some.
Just let me know.
Yeah.
Just let me know.
Let this guy know.
We got.
He's letting guys like me on the show. He'll let you on too.
We got a 2-seat couch if you want in studio.
I need a buddy right here.
Yeah, we've got Zoom capabilities as well.
Oh yeah, you don't have to be around here. You can be in Lithuania.
Literally, if you have access to Zoom, you could definitely get on the show. So. Definitely don't be afraid to comment down below what you liked, what you didn't like. If you just say you don't like me on the show, we can pass off the credentials to Jack here. He can definitely.
But if you don't like me on the show,
it's too bad. We're keeping Jack.
Keep it to yourself.
Do not comment about that. But I think that's all she wrote. Thanks for coming on, and
thanks for having me.
We'll see you guys later.